Good morning.
Good evening, beautiful. Good evening, beautiful people. First off, Dion, what was that? I love that.
Hey,
Good morning.
you know what I'm saying? Just playing off your energy, man. Cause I can see you.
Man.
We have a goofy pod today, man. God.
Yeah, goofy for sure, but also informative. I will say that both of our interviews today, you're going to learn a lot about what's going down in Dallas with the Cowboys when it comes to their free agency and why they haven't signed anybody except for a long snapper to this point. We're shooting this at 11:50 a.m. on a Tuesday morning, March 12th. And so at this time, Cowboys only have a long snapper signed in the second day of free agency. And so we're going to talk about that with Clarence Hill Jr. from the Star-Telegram, Dallas Cowboys beat writer. And also, you're going to get some more information about what's going down with the MLS referee lockout. Yes, that's for sure. We have talked to one of the main guys in the negotiation tables for the referees, Peter Manikowski. He is the president of the Professional Soccer Referee Association. And so he gave us some insight about what they're asking for at the bargaining tables and why there hasn't been a deal done to this point. And so a lot of great stuff coming up in this podcast. But for right now, we're also going to mention some Texas things, like Texas softball winning this weekend over University of Houston. It was scary, though, after game one. UH beat the number one team in the country in Texas softball. But Texas came back the next two games, won them. This last game, game three, was tough.
Skipping over how we doing?
I was going to get there after this. I was rolling. I'm not gonna lie to you. I was rolling. Rolling. But,
gotcha.
I mean, you can stop it. Cool. We can stop it right now. Let's do it. Let's get into it. How was your week, bro?
My man. Killing the vibe. Before we jump into it, unshameless plug, like, comment, subscribe, show the pod some love wherever you see it. Helps with the algorithm. Show us some love. Of course, we're looking for editors. If you're good at cutting clips, if you're good at editing podcasts, definitely reach out to us. But yeah, how the week has been. It has been a rough week. And really quick, too, breaking news, Derrick Henry just signed to the Ravens. So another domino off the board for the Cowboys.
Big time. They lost Gus Edwards to the Los Angeles Chargers. Their former offensive coordinator, Greg Roman, is now the coordinator over there in L.A. So he not only, Jim Harbaugh, that is, not only takes Greg Roman from Baltimore, he also takes Gus Edwards as well. That then opened up a spot in Baltimore for that big back, and they got one. They got the biggest back.
2 years. Okay. What? He got a 2-year deal, $16 million. Yeah, the Ravens are going to be scary again.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's just breaking news.
$8 million a year. You just saw Aaron Jones get $7 million a year in Minnesota, and so that's kind of the market right now. Of course, Saquon Barkley set the standard with about the opportunities to win $15 million a year in terms of incentives and stuff like that. So he's the highest paid running back ever per year. And so, yeah, it's a good market for running backs, you know. After
a down year, they're slowly creeping back up to having some relevance. So hopefully, you know, they have good seasons. So
they got together on a Zoom call, like, look, we're not going to accept anything under. Look, guys,
teams with no money, don't take it, bro. Don't take it, Cowboys.
Don't take it.
But yeah, back to our week, man.
Yeah, your week.
Life has been lifing. A rough week. A lot of change been going on. So, you know, trying to get adjusted to that. Let me see. I actually have this note, ironically, I got when I bought a T-shirt from a friend of mine. Better Watch Your Tone on Instagram. She's an amazing poet. She also creates clothes. I'm going to just read it really quick because it was funny that I got this like a couple months ago and I just decided to open it. And it was just like, dang, I needed to read this. So it says, it is the moments in life where we have to start completely over that reveal our innermost authentic self. From the ashes, the phoenix arises and flies free. Take the time to create the art that you come from, and come from your core. Rest, heal, grow, listen, build, and create. So it's just crazy that I got this a month ago and I just decided to open it, read it, and like that. It's kind of perfect timing.
Yeah, guys, timing.
Yeah, exactly. So, it's been a rough week, but yeah. I mean, how about yourself? How was your week?
Well, on that note, though, I just want to kind of put a little bow on that. You know, when it comes to being at your roughest moment or lowest moment, that kind of makes you realize where you need to grow in and where you need to get better at. And so a lot of athletes are having that moment right now in free agency, you know, and I know a lot of people getting traded, a lot of people starting over, getting in new cities. And so taking that inner look at themselves, and even us in our own lives, taking a look at yourself when you're at the lowest of moments to see how can you put yourself out of it. But I mean, and to that point, this week has been good. This week has been a lot of inner reflection as well. A lot of things on my plate, but had a great stuff work-wise. Was able to get a one-on-one with Bijan Robinson, Atlanta Falcons running back. So got to talk to him again, you know, chop it up. That was a real good interview. Go check it out online. And so we talked a lot about just, of course, Longhorns, but then also his first year as a rookie. And so that was pretty cool. But other than that, like, pretty good week.
You asked him about the headache?
I did not ask about why Arthur Smith did not. I should have asked him that, though. You had a good point. Should have asked him why Arthur Smith did not play you that week, because I did start you in fantasy. So took a big L that week.
Yeah,
that's a good point.
The first question.
I wonder how he feels about the new quarterback, too. You know, Kirk Cousins down in ATL now. So bye-bye to Desmond Ridder. And bye-bye to Taylor Heineke. So the new regime down there in Atlanta. But it was a good week. And so let's get into some Texas talk, though. Like we were mentioning earlier in the podcast before, Dion definitely wanted to talk about his week. So wanted to give him that platform. I love how you
just trying to stay consistent.
Yeah, you're right. That's on me, though. You know, when I get rolling, that's why I need you here, you know, to keep me on track, bro. Because it's exactly why. Things like that. And so, yeah, like I was mentioning earlier, Texas softball got the series win over U of H, even though they just became number one in the country, Dion, and then they lose their first game. So, you know, it kind of sucks. That's the way it all panned out. But they still got the series dub, so that's all that matters. Texas baseball also got the series dub over Texas Tech out there in Lubbock. There was a couple skirmishes on the diamond, I guess you could say. Game 3, my apologies. Game 3, Will Gasparino was running down first base and got into a little scuffle with the first baseman at Texas Tech, who, by the way, used to play at UT, then transferred out. And so there is some back history there. But just shoved him. You know, it looked like the first baseman was on the first base line while he was coming down. And that's just an unwritten rule for any baseball player. Any first baseman should not be on the first base line because, of course, a collision will happen. And that's exactly what happened. Will Gasparino did not shove him lightly. It was a kind of a rough shove, but that's what happens in Lubbock, right? You know, there's a lot of fires that get started up there. Texas Tech hates Texas, and so you can always expect that. But Texas did get the dub in baseball, and some things happened on the court as well.
Yeah, Texas women's basketball had a good weekend. They beat Kansas State 71-64. Madison Booker led all scores for the Texas women's with 17 points, but it looks like Shea Holly was the big-time performer down the clutch with a clutch 3 and also a layup in the final minutes to solidify the win while playing a whopping 40 minutes.
Yeah, didn't step off the court.
That Tom Thibodeau, boy. Yeah, the minutes add up. Texas will play Iowa State in the Big 12 championship tonight.
Yeah,
right.
8 p.m.
Tonight. So, you know, hopefully they take care of business. I know Texas fans were expecting and hoping to see Texas versus Oklahoma, but they got a little butt whooping handed to them this weekend. So, that's the women's. What about the boys?
Yeah, on the men's side, they got the dub this weekend over Oklahoma. Talk about someone who beat OU. Men's did in their final regular season game. And we see the X factor, Tyrese Hunter. When Tyrese dropped 30 points, 7 assists against OU this weekend, and this team looks completely different. After the game, we were talking to Porter Moses, the head coach for Oklahoma men's basketball, and he said it himself. If Tyrese is playing like that, Texas men's basketball is elite. That's the word he used. Elite. And I agree. And that's something we've been talking about on this podcast. It's something we talked about on TV. When Tyrese Hunter is aggressive, when Tyrese is efficient on offense, this team is a different team. And it's a complete Elite 8 type team. Definitely a Sweet 16 type team if he's able to play like that. And of course, it starts on the defensive side of the ball. If he's locked in defensively like he was against OU, that then causes steals, that then causes his confidence to go up. Now he starts hitting shots, now he starts playmaking, and that relieves the pressure off of Max Asmus and Dylan Dessou to score a bucket. And so if they can get that third guy, and that's been the question the whole year, who will be the third guy to step up in this offense? A lot of people expected it to be Tyrese when the season started. It hasn't been that way. And maybe now this is the tides are starting to turn for Tyrese Hunter and his offensive game. And if that's the case, now heading into Big 12 conference play, and which, by the way, they have a date against Kansas State for their first quarterfinal matchup in that Big 12 tournament. That'll be big time. So hopefully this is the time of year where they start to get things figured out. Now, for their way to the Big 12 tournament championship, it's kind of tough. They got a tough road. Of course, they got Kansas State first. If they win that game, then they got to go face Iowa State, who beat Texas at the Moody Center earlier this year. And then possibly you got either Baylor or Kansas. And then
I don't want to see either one of them.
Yeah, and that's just the semifinal, you know?
Yeah.
That's the semifinal. If you make it to the championship, you'll probably have to face UH. And so you're talking Kansas State to Iowa State to either Kansas or Baylor, and then UH. I mean, that's death row right there.
That is a tough stretch. That's a tough stretch going into presumably the March Madness. That is a gauntlet.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
I mean, that's the Big 12. That's the Big 12 as it is, man. Like, oh man, that's a scary road for them. Hopefully not hopefully, because Baylor's gonna end up.
There you go, bro, Baylor.
Hopefully they can make it to at least Baylor and make it a good game.
Well, you want to have some type of momentum before the NCAA tournament. So the hope is that kind of start to find your rhythm, throughout this tournament, because this is the last shot. This is the last time to kind of get that momentum before March Madness really starts. And so you want to do it in this Big 12 tournament. And if you're going to do it, you might as well take out the big dogs on your way doing it. So here we go. It's time to get busy, right? It's that time of year. And I think everyone on the 40 Acres sees the potential of what this team could be after Saturday's matchup against OU. And they just hope it can be consistent every day, every game from here on out, because that's what it needs to be, because now it's win or go home. So a lot of stuff happening on the basketball front right now for Texas. Both teams, by the way, are solidified their spot in the NCAA tournament. Texas women's basketball could low-key get a #1 seed in the NCAA tournament, which would be amazing, by the way, just because it hasn't happened in such a long time for this program. And so to get to this point without Rory Harmon, we've been saying it all year, but it still is something to be said that they made it this far without arguably their best player, and now they could have the #1 seed in the NCAA tournament. That would be amazing. No one could have guessed that. But right now, though, no one could have guessed that the Cowboys would have only one player signed to this point in day 2 of free agency. And a lot of Cowboys fans aren't happy about that. And I wouldn't be either if I was a Cowboys fan. I mean, you have your owner coming out saying, we're going to go all in this year.
We're all in.
We're all in. We're all in. And all
into the long snap.
Yeah, all in doesn't seem all in right now at all for Cowboys fans. And so to give some more insight into maybe why they haven't spent any money in this free agency to this point. Like I said, of course, when you listen to this podcast, things could have changed by then. But as of right now, at noon on March 12th, they have signed one player. And so to give more insight about why that may be the case, Dallas Cowboys beat writer for the Star-Telegram, Clarence Hill Jr. will join us. And man, just listen to what the man has to say, because he has all the answers about why the Cowboys are being kind of stingy with their bread. All right, everybody. Now we joined by my brother, even in the fraternity sense, Omega Psi Phi, Clarence Hill Jr. from the Star-Telegram, Cowboys beat writer since I've been alive, 1997. So he knows everything about what's going down in Dallas and Frisco, if we're being honest. That's where the practice facility is at. But Clarence, how you doing this morning?
I'm well, man. I'm well. I'm just, busy first day of free agency. Not on the field, but, the Cowboys always got some news. I don't know if you saw the Dak Prescott suit that came down yesterday and last night. He's suing a woman who was tried to extort him for $100 million over a alleged sexual assault from back in 2017. So the Cowboys didn't get anything done in free agency on the first day, but They're always making news.
Oh, well, let's get into that real quick. That's how you started out.
Crazy start. Okay.
Can you give us some more insight on what's going on in that situation?
Well, I mean, you know, it's crazy because there's not much to tell. I mean, this assault allegedly happened in 2017 after his rookie season. You know, of course, Dak said it was a consensual sex, but the woman waited 7 years or waited till January to send him a letter saying, if you give me $100 million, I won't file criminal charges. Okay. Wow. And you have until February, whatever, 24. It's right before the start of rating, whatever else. And so he has filed a civil suit on extortion, you know, against this woman. And so that came down yesterday. It's crazy because, you know, Dak is, you know, if you know anything about him, you know, there's been a lot of criticism about him on the field, but his image off the field is squeaky clean. He does everything the right way. He's certainly one of the best leaders the Cowboys ever had. And he certainly is, you know, again, carried himself the right way. So this is just kind of out of nowhere. And it's crazy because he just had a baby for the first time, you know, a new father, great relationship, coming off arguably his best season of his career, you know, when he finished second All-Pro and second team All-Pro and certainly was a second team runner for MVP. So it's a crazy story. And the bottom line is it's funny because, you know, it's Dak's contract situation is really holding the Cowboys up in free agency. You know, they really can't move forward until they decide what they're going to do with Dak Prescott. And the Cowboys have done nothing. And Dak has, you know, has a $59 million cap hit. Going into next season, that was always the case. It was always when they signed him to his contract 4 years ago, it was like, we're going to address the deal before your last year because we have to get rid of this cap hit. We have lower cap numbers the first 3 years, big cap number the last year. That means that we have to address the deal, either get you an extension before that last year to lower the cap number so we add more players. And that's where they are. And they haven't done that. And it's really kind of handcuffed in their abilities to move forward for agency.
And how apart do you feel like the two sides are right now when it comes to that contract negotiation?
They really haven't talked, you know, and you know, I think it's a mental thing of how far they're apart because the going rate right now for a guy who's free, 55, 60 million. You know,
yeah, I mean. Just in Kirk.
Yeah, you saw Kirk.
Do you want to pay that kind of money going forward for a quarterback who only has 2 playoff wins? Of course, the alternative is you could be signing Kirk Cousins to Sam Darnold to be your quarterback the following year, who's done nothing either. You know, it's like it's you know, there are a lot of Cowboy fans who are frustrated and say, well, move on for Dak, don't pay him that money. But you guys, you talk about your age, but you don't remember the quarterback abyss between Troy Aikman and Tony Romo. You know, when the Cowboys were trotting out there with nobodies out there for a long, long time. So they fell into Tony Romo and subsequently fell into Dak Prescott in the 4th round. Yeah. But there was some bad quarterback play for the Cowboys between Troy Aikman and Tony Romo. And, you know, just because you draft a guy in the 1st round, as we're seeing with, you know, a lot of quarterbacks, don't mean you're getting a quarterback for the future, the quarterback you're going to win with.
Yeah, you never know. It's always unpredictable. And it seemed like this free agency has been unpredictable as well. You know, of course, the Cowboys losing Tony Pollard. And you have that now gap. I believe the only running back on the roster is Deuce Vaughn. Is Rico Dowdle? Rico Dowdle still on the roster, or is it just Deuce?
No, Rico Dowdle's a free agent. Yeah, the only running back under contract is Deuce Vaughn. And fullback Hunter Lipke.
But, so not a lot of answers there. Not a lot, and there's not a lot of guys on the market either right now.
Well, you know, they're guys. I mean, just who you Dante Foreman's out there. You know, Foreman Longhorn. I mean, there's some, you know, some guys, but the big name guys. I mean, Derrick Henry's still out there as we speak right now. But the Cowboys certainly have a number that they want to spend. You know, they were into considering Zach Moss, but he wanted $4 million a year, and they don't want to pay $4 million. They want to get, you know, I think the running back market has jumped. Players are getting more money than the Cowboys thought because the running back market has been depressed.
Yeah, but I say, was that surprising to you to see these numbers? Because that's been the talk the whole
guys
year.
Are getting more money this year than they got in past years, and I think that surprised the Cowboys. And the market is for some of the guys that they may have been interested in is higher than what they thought it would be. But the bottom line is, the Dak Prescott, you can't just be all passing, and you do need to improve that running game. And the Cowboys need to address it, and if they will address it with somebody in free agency at some point, and just be local, they will address it in the draft. And our guy Jonathan Brooks,
I've been saying it.
I call him my homeboy because he's from Hallettsville. I'm from a small town called Schulenburg, which is right next to Hallettsville, right next to Hallettsville.
Gotcha.
And he's he's a guy who's had his surgery done by Cowboys doctor, Dr. Cooper. He also did my daughter's ACL surgery. He's a great doctor.
Wow.
Certainly he's all over Jonathan Brooks' rehab. So the Cowboys know everything about Jonathan Brooks' injury and his rehab and his prospects. And so here's a guy I would think that at some point in the draft, whether it's third round, I don't know where Brooks is going to go coming off that injury, but third, fourth round, maybe an option for the Cowboys for sure.
And that was going to be actually one of my questions to you when it came to the Texas Longhorns in general. I know you're a big UT guy, and so I wanted to ask you a couple questions about that. You were at the draft combine, and so if there was a particular Longhorn coming out that you would want the Cowboys to draft, would it be Brooks, or is there somebody else? If you could pick one, who would it be?
Oh, it's Big Boy. They need a
Sweat?
Big Boy. Yes, he needs a big boy. I mean, no, seriously, let's be honest about it. The Cowboys, their biggest need is on defense and stopping the run. If you watch how they got exposed in that playoff game, they got gashed up the middle. The run defense is the weakest part of that defense. And, you really, to me, you can't be a great defense without a horse in the middle. And you need Sweat would certainly be ideal. It's funny because Cowboys tried to address it last year with Mose Smith, who was a 337-pound, massive, strong man, run stopper from Michigan. Mose Smith went and lost 30 pounds during the season for some reason. And he was really a non-factor.
Yeah.
I know one thing. They ain't got to worry about Sweat losing weight.
Nah, definitely not. He's trying to lose weight.
They ain't got to worry about Sweat getting under 300 pounds and not being a big, massive load in the middle that's hard to move in the middle. But no, Sweat will be. I mean, certainly, we already brought up Brooks, but Sweat, somebody like Sweat would be great for the Cowboys in the middle of the defense.
What can I ask you though, Nick?
Clarence.
Well, one thing, let me do one more follow up. Because we talked to Nick Harris from DallasCowboys.com last week, and he mentioned that the organization, they may be kind of weary to draft Sweat at 24 because of drafting Mose last year in the first round. So do you think that would be a problem with drafting the same position in the first round 2 years back to back?
Yeah, I see. In my ideal, I'm thinking Sweat goes second round.
Okay.
I don't know where Sweat's going because he's been projected first round, second round. He's all over. If you look at some of the draft projections, and I've seen him be available in the second round. I think they have to draft the offensive line, address the offensive line first.
Got you.
When I look at what they have, certainly they're moving on from Tyron Smith. Whether they move Tyler Smith to left tackle or draft to left tackle, they also lost their center. There's a number of top centers out there. I just think that at 24, most likely they're going to go offensive line.
Sounds good.
And in the second round, Sweat will be a great option for them. But yeah, there's this whole thought that, if you draft a defensive tackle in the first round, even the second round, are you admitting a mistake with Mose Smith, and they don't want to publicly admit that for sure.
Right. And Clarence, I mean, since you've been covering the Cowboys for so long, what is the validity of, Jerry saying they're going all in? And this first couple of days, Corey, you told me that they signed the long snapper was there.
Yeah. That's the
been their big
signing
move
so far.
Well, the first day of free agency, Jerry said all in, and Jerry is the ultimate salesman. Barnum Bailey, he knows how to, get you excited about the team and sell this team. And certainly his buzzword this year was being all in. And, after the disappointment last year, when they really thought they had a chance to really take a step and get to at least the NFC Championship game for the first time, had everything set up for them, and they laid that egg against Green Bay. He really thought. So he came out. It was actually my question. We talked at the Senior Bowl, and he's reiterated it at the Combine about being all in, doing things differently, to put a win on the field. And what is a make or break season? Mike McCarthy. I mean, all the coaches start with the head coach in the last season of their contract. So if they don't take a step forward, we know they're gone. And so they really have to, from a coaching standpoint, they really need to win this year, and so for them to win, you need to do things to improve this team. Well, so far, the Cowboys have not done anything. So what does all it mean? What all it means to us obviously doesn't mean the same thing to Jerry Jones. Now, let's be honest about it. The Cowboys have lost some players. The players they lost can be replaced. I don't think they've lost any Hall of Famers. You look at Tony Pollard and the center, and they lost Dorrance Armstrong, defensive end. They were good players. They were solid players. They haven't lost any difference makers.
I would say Tyron Smith, though. You're not putting Tyron Smith in that category?
Yeah, I mean, but at Tyron Smith's age, he's missed at least 3 games a year since 2015. Even before last year, I think he missed 14 games and 11 games the previous 2 seasons. He certainly came back and played well when he was on the field last year. We still missed 4 games. At his age, how much money do you commit to whether he last year was a outlier, or can you really count on? Should you count on him being healthy for 2 straight seasons when he hasn't done that?
Yeah, that's
and certainly they want to bring him back, but he thinks he can get more money on the free agent market. So, there's that question. You drafted Tyler Smith 2 years ago to ultimately be his replacement. So
it's time.
You do have that whole decision making process. But so yeah, he played well, and they're going to miss him. They do need to. Again, that's why I said offensive line to me is the biggest focus of the draft, because you do have to replace these either Tyron Smith, either with moving Tyler Smith out or drafting a guard or getting center or doing something there. So, but outside of Tyron Smith, none of those other guys were Pro Bowlers. None of those other guys were, above average players, at least toward the end of last year. So they didn't do much. They haven't done much. That doesn't mean they still can't make moves and do some things to help the team. But again, it starts with Dak. It starts with them addressing Dak's contract and deciding how they're going to address it, either with a extension or with a adjustment to create cap room. But they have to do something with Dak's contract before they can move on anyway.
And so you're saying for Cowboys fans, until you see something with Dak's contract, don't expect a signing to happen.
Keep on waiting.
Yeah, I mean, other than deep snapper, I mean, they went after a running back and they didn't want to pay him $4 million. I mean, that just tells you how much money they
tied up.
They didn't want to pay him $4 million. Okay, and it's certainly so you're not going to see him get in on Derrick Henry sweepstakes. You certainly didn't see him get on Saquon Barkley, who got a great contract from the Eagles. Aaron Jones, who's just signed for $7 million, going from Green Bay to going from Green Bay to the Vikings and stuff like that. So they're not going to pay those type of salaries for a running back. So they need to again create cap room in some way, form, or fashion before they can really move. They have $2.2 million in cap room right now, and so they really does not allow them to be players with a number in free agency and they have needs. I mean, again, we talked about offensive line. They need a starting running back. They need linebackers, and just to bring it back home, one big move forward for them next year would be the return of DeMarvion Overshawn, who was injured all last year, and they could have used him last year. He is an athletic linebacker, runs sideline to sideline, and so he's going to help that defense. And I think that's how the Cowboys are looking at it. We're not signing a guy, but they're counting on, because he didn't play, is DeMarvion Overshawn being an addition.
Yeah. That's their signing for this offseason.
Yes.
I've heard great things.
Their addition.
I heard the organization loves Overshawn. Apparently, Dan Quinn, before he took the job at Washington, said that Demo is going to be a dude for the Cowboys. And so if Dan Quinn gave him that writing of approval, I mean, that should say a lot just for how Overshawn has made an impact in that building, even despite not playing a snap in the regular season. And so at this point, where would you like to see the Cowboys spend that money? Let's say they do get this deal figured out with Dak. Any free agents in particular that you're hearing about that they may be interested in on the cheap?
Well, I mean, who's going to be left with a time for them to go to the table? That's the problem. I would have loved for them to go get Derrick Henry. I mean, they need I would love them to keep Tony Pollard and go get a guy like Derrick Henry. But obviously Henry's still out there. We'll see what happens. I think right now he's been linked with Baltimore. with the Ravens. But I mean, I don't know. I don't know any names left. But there are people. It's a lot of guys out there. They just need to do some things to again shore up, so you're not forced to focus on needs in the draft and get the best player available. That's the purpose of phrasing. Phrasing so you want to fill needs. So when you go to the draft, you're not forced to take a guy who may not be slotted there just because you have needs to fill. You can just take the best player available. That's really what you want to do in the draft. So they need to get bodies, more bodies. I mean, there's some linebackers out there that can help them. Again, I talked about a running back. I mean, I think Dante Foreman has had a solid.
I mean, when he played in Chicago last year and came in and did
played in Chicago. He played in with the Panthers in Tennessee the year before. He has a career 4.2 yards per carry average. He's the guy that you could bring in and be part of a committee. Say you wouldn't got a Brooks or some other guy. There's some guys in the draft. Wisconsin running back, the Oregon running back. There's some other running backs in the draft that certainly they could be fits for the Cowboys, but you do need a veteran to be paired with.
And I would say, like, having a dude like Deontay come in and let's just say the plan is to go get Brooks. Having a guy who was on the 40 acres, knows the culture, to kind of mold Brooks and not even have to rush Brooks back, because coming off an ACL injury, the Cowboys may know all the information, but you still want to have him fully ready to go. And Deontay would be a perfect stopgap at that position while also mentoring him, knowing that they're both from UT. And so I love that signing. And, he wouldn't be super crazy. He won't break the bank. Foreman won't, and so.
No, he's getting the minimum at this point. I mean, he's again, he's a free agent as well, and he's still out there. So I mean, again, there's some guys out there that can work, and certainly that the problem is the Cowboys do have a history of taking Longhorns. You can count on. Well, I can probably count on one hand the number of Longhorns that have been on this roster. Since I've been covering the beat, it's not a lot. It's crazy for the flagship program in the state. The flagship football team in the state, there are not a lot of Longhorns that come through.
Why do you think that is?
I don't know. It's crazy to me. It makes no sense to me. And it's not because Jared's from Arkansas or was an Arkansas guy, because he don't take a lot of Razorbacks either. It's funny, but I just think things have just not aligned right. But there's again, historically, there's not been a lot of Longhorns that come through these doors.
Oh yeah, you got it,
Clarence. My last question is, do you know anything about? I know that last playoff game with Dak and CD. Can you talk about their relationship? Are they good?
Dak and CD is good. The city's mom, is not good with that. Okay, that was the controversy. And CD is actually addressed it and said his mom don't speak for him. But it's crazy because in today's day and age, all these family members with podcasts and social media, everybody wants to have something to say, and they're really not part of the team. CD's gonna get paid because of that. CD had the greatest season of any receiver in Cowboys history. That includes Michael Irvin and Bob Hayes and Terrell Owens and Dez Bryant. More targets, more catches, more yards, everything, because Dak feeds him. For him to have a problem with Dak, that's crazy. But they're good. They're in a great spot. And again, so that's more the mom. And that controversy is more about, what the mom said on Facebook and everything else. I think she deleted her Facebook page since then. People, it's funny because I know how I am and you guys are. I don't know how to watch a game without being on social media now.
Yeah,
that's the one part of the game. When you're at home, you're at the bar, I tweet out plays. I react to everything. But when you're associated with a team or associated with a member, you can't do that. You can't let your raw emotions come out because you affected other people, other relationships, and so that's the thing that you have to be circumspect about when you're a family member, is that you just can't be out there tweeting craziness, because it's part of the Dak experience. I mean, people don't appreciate how good he is and what he's done and how well he played. It's all Dak's fault. Well, the Cowboys have not been to the Super Bowl in 28 years. That ain't Dak. That's Romo. That's a whole lot of guys in 28 years. It ain't just Dak, and whether you believe he can get to the next level or not. I mean, Matt Stafford did it after he left Detroit, and he could have with Dak. He may move on from the Cowboys, go to us to a different situation, and take him to the next level. But the Cowboys, are not failing to get to the next level solely because of Dak Prescott. Certainly, he needs to play better in the playoffs, but Michael Parsons needs to play better in the playoffs. And a whole lot of guys need to play better in the playoffs. The whole organization needs to do better in the playoffs.
You brought up one last name that I wanted to speak on just now, Michael Parsons, right? And so you saw Chris Jones's contract this offseason. And so I'm sure Micah was excited to hear about what Chris Jones got paid, because now that just raises the stock for what he's going to get paid. And you mentioned CD.
Well, I mean,
you said something?
I'm sorry. But, actually, Nick Bosa already set the mark for Micah. Nick Bosa is the highest paid defensive player in football, and that's where the market starts. Chris Jones, I think, is getting $31 million a year on his contract. Nick Bosa is getting $34 million.
Gotcha.
And so that's the baseline where the Micah negotiations will start. He will, whenever he gets his deal, whether it's with the Cowboys or somebody else, most likely it's going to be with the Cowboys, he will be the richest defensive player in the history.
And so Jerry Jones knows that, right? He also knows he needs to play.
Yeah, that's part of the conversation.
So you saw what happened in Buffalo with Josh Allen. When they got into free agency, they were in free agency hell at that point. Well, cap room hell. And so they had to restructure Josh Allen's contract. So is that what's holding stuff back in Dallas, you feel like, with Dak? He may not be wanting to restructure?
No. The restructures are already built into the contract. Dak needs an extension to lower his cap, because the restructure is already built into the contract. He needs an extension. The problem is, Dak has already been paid. He's been paid at the top of the market, at least from the Cowboys' point of view. Dak has been paid at the top of the market. Dak should not want to be paid at the top of the market now. He should want to take less so he can pay other guys. They have no problem playing CD and Mike at the top of the market because this is their first deal. This is the first time they're out there.
It's only fair.
Okay.
It's only fair.
Well, fair to you.
Yeah.
Fair to who?
Yeah, about to say. If I'm Dak, hey. I just had a almost MVP season.
I need to get market value every time the market comes up, because Jerry Jones is getting market value every time I'm selling tickets.
Jerseys.
And drilling jerseys. Them $100 parking.
No, don't get me started.
He's killing. He's making a killing
at AT&T Stadium. So I mean, it's interesting. It's an interesting conversation, but that's where they're. But yeah, they understand that. That's part of the whole conversation. Is they know they have to budget, and they're already budgeted mentally for big deals for CD and big deals for Micah to go along with the new deal for Dak.
It seems like nothing's going to get started until Dak gets finished, and so. Until that happens, I guess the Cowboys front will be pretty quiet during this free agency. And one last thing I just wanted to talk to you about, C-Hill, was saw a video of you at Indianapolis setting it out after all the work was done. Yeah, let me know the backstory between it. What you mean, man? It's floating around social media.
It wasn't paparazzi.
Sending something out. But how was it? How'd you get to that point? What was that night like? Good night for you?
I mean, actually, two things. With the Combine, I always use it as an opportunity to do some mentoring and networking. And so Wednesday night, I host a NABJ dinner for National Association of Black Journalists members who are at the Combine to get together. We had guys from ESPN, the Fox, NFLPA, all the teams there who were there. We get together and organize a little dinner that we've been doing for a long time for NABJ members. To get together and network, at the Combine. And on Thursday, the bros always get together. So all the bros at the Combine, coaches, agents, scouts, reporters, we have a little reception, happy hour, whatever else, and get together. So the bros were marching, and Tom McDowell came on, and
you gotta do what you gotta do.
What I did,
You're feeling good. You're feeling good.
I don't need to be oiled up to do that.
Oh man, love that. Chill, love that, man. Hey, I just saw the video. Like, look at Chill doing his thing, man. Putting on
Yeah, you know, I mean, I was a lead dog. I was a show dog back in the 80s, you know.
Man, talk your talk, man. Talk your talk.
Back in the 80s over in Theta.
That's powerhouse.
Yes, sir. Well, thank you so much, Chill, for hopping on. I know you got a lot of stuff on your plate, but so much insight, because I know a lot of Cowboys fans are in the dark and they just don't understand why they're not making moves. Well, it's like, look, you can't make moves if you don't got money. So that's just the bottom line at this point for the Dallas Cowboys. But thank you so much, Chill, for hopping on. So basically, they're broke. That's what I'm hearing for the Cowboys organization from Clarence Hill Jr. Thank you so much, Chill, for spending the time, by the way. But yeah, what'd you get from that conversation, Dion? That's what I got.
I mean, that's been my biggest takeaway. I mean, you kind of see everybody making moves. You heard the owner say, "Nah, we locked in. Like, this is it. This is the year. This is the year that all the money that I got, which is, it seems like it's just 2 quarters in his pocket. This is all we going all in." And for him to kind of elaborate that, yo, $4 million is too much for Zach Moss, which has
that's scary.
Had a pretty good year. That's kind of scary to think about. But yeah, hey, Cowboys fans, hopefully the deal with Dak, it comes to an end. That, you know, they figure something out soon. But hey, if not, I'm always down for a good laugh at you, Cowboys fans. So your owner lied, what he's good at doing, saying, you know, America's team, y'all going all in. And hey, if y'all go from being 12-5 to being bums, hey, it's only gonna make it funny for me this football season. So
here you go.
Wishing y'all the best. Wishing y'all the best in this free agency, man. 'Cause like you said, the big domino, Derrick Henry's off the board.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, it's crazy. And see, Clarence just mentioned that, right? Like, they don't have money to get Derrick Henry, so that was never an option.
Never, yeah.
Yeah, at that point. So I really do like the Deontay Foreman, though. I really like that idea because he was productive. Like, he was arguably the best running back in Chicago last year. And so for him to come to Dallas, you know, that would be cool. And then drafting Jonathan Brooks to kind of mold him and groom him to be ready. That would be a great plan in my eyes for the Cowboys faithful. If I were to get that, if I was a Cowboys fan, I would accept that. But I think it's not just running back, though, with the holes on this team. They have so many other holes as well, especially on the offensive line. You just can't go all draft to fix that offensive line problem. You have to get some type of free agent. And so the clock is ticking because free agents are coming off the board left and right. And once you finally get the Dak deal done, hopefully there's people out there. Yeah. You know, and so they're in a sticky situation right now in Dallas. And so I'm interested to see how they figure it out. But in the meantime, Cowboys fans will have to just sit back and wait.
Yeah. And look, man, following our next topic, I saw something kind of interesting on Twitter. I wanted to see Corey's take on it. It's a graphic of 4 teams here. We got Team Ellinger. So the quarterback would be Sam Ellinger, Earl Campbell, Roy Williams.
Yeah, I saw this.
Right?
Yeah, I saw this.
We got Team Quinn. So we got Quinn Ewers, Ricky Williams, Jordan Shipley. Team Colt, we got Colt McCoy, Cedric Benson, Xavier Worthy. And then lastly, we have Team Vince Young, Bijan Robinson, Quan Cosby. And I wanted to know from Corey himself, what team would he pick?
Oh, man.
Who's the best? We can rank them. Who's the best team? Who's the, you know, who would come in last place?
Yeah.
And who's your favorite?
Nah, I don't want to, you know, rank them. I don't want to put nobody in blast. You know, I don't want to disrespect nobody because they're all Texas legends. But I will say, if you're picking anybody other than Team Vince, you're tripping. Like, having a backfield with Vince Young and Bijan Robinson, what are you supposed to do with that? Like, as a defensive coordinator, what are you supposed to do with that? Nothing. You just get beat. And then you just have Quan Cosby as well, just to have him, just to throw it in there. And so, yeah, that would be my team. I mean, I just feel like that team is so dynamic, running the ball and throwing the football. And so, remember, Bijan Robinson out the backfield as a receiver, he's also a weapon. And so, I just feel like they're just too dynamic for any other team on this list. And I will say the other team that I was looking at, though, was that Sam Ellinger team, because Sam Ellinger is a winner. You know, we all know that, and that's why Longhorn Nation loves him so much, because he is a winner, and he's doing things for the team to get the job done. And, of course, Earl Campbell. I mean, I didn't have the pleasure of watching him in person. I wasn't alive during the time, of course, but the clips I seen and the highlights I peeped, Lord have mercy.
Exciting.
Yes. Talk about a dominant running back. I mean, look, I watched a lot of his Houston Oilers highlights as well, just because, growing up in Houston, my mom had an Earl Campbell jersey. She loved Earl Campbell. And look, that dude was a monster, absolute monster. And so he was like that at Texas as well. So, yeah, I would say Team Ellinger was the other team I may have thought about, especially with Ward Williams on the outside as well. Shout out Permian, shout out Odessa. That's a Permian grad out there, going all the way to the 40 acres, and of course had a good run in the NFL as well. So yeah, that team was nice. Of course, Team Colt, talk about the most efficient quarterback of all time when it comes to Texas football. Pairing him with Cedric Benson and Xavier Worthy, that's cool. That's cool. I'm not knocking them, but it's cool. It doesn't really scare me compared to the other teams. The same thing with Team Quinn. Ricky Williams, of course, is scared. But like Quinn and Jordan Shipley, will they be as efficient together as Colt McCoy and Jordan Shipley was? I don't think so. So you got to lean heavy on Ricky. So yeah, I just think Team Vince is, that team's just too dynamic on offense. And I know I keep using that word, but that's the only word that makes sense to me. Because man, they're just you got too much to stop. You have too much to stop. Yeah. So yeah, Team Vince for sure.
And look, in the comments, definitely drop below who y'all rocking with. I definitely want to see y'all think Corey's a genius or you think he's an idiot? Let us know in the comments. But yeah, Corey, let's get to the next conversation.
Yeah, big time stuff in MLS, Major League Soccer lately. If you don't know, there is a lockout going on when it comes to the referees. It's been happening ever since the season started. And so they have replacement refs right now for all these matches around the league. And the reason why is because the official refs are on the negotiation tables right now with the league to figure out how they can get some more benefits. They can get some more travel, I guess you can say travel benefits as well. Of course, the wage has been a topic of conversation because the MLS just got paid from Apple TV. They have a new TV deal from last year. After Lionel Messi coming over, Apple TV wanted to take over MLS streaming. And so they gave them a 10-year, $2.5 billion contract for that deal. And MLS has been able to raise their popularity, get more earnings when it comes to stadiums, tickets, and of course, merchandise. They've been seeing a growth in MLS, and that's great for the sport of soccer here in the United States. And it's also great for, of course, the league to be earning more money, making more money off of merchandise and ticket sales and concession sales and all that around the league. But the refs are just asking just a nibble. Can I get a nibble of that? Can I just get a little bit of the
spare
money? Yeah, some spare change. And so that's what's led to this lockout at this point. When I was at Q2 Stadium for the home opener for Austin FC, Los Verdes, the supporter group for the club, was passing out these little flyers, cards, I guess you should say, and it reads, "Bring back the real refs." And so the supporters around the league, all the fan bases, they're backing the official referees, and they're not siding with the league, because everyone knows you want the professional refs on the pitch during these matches because they're the ones qualified. These replacement refs aren't qualified to be reffing these games. They have training, of course, but they're just not used to the environment. They're not used to the pace. They're not used to just everything surrounding being on a professional stage. I mean, you saw it a couple years ago with the NFL and those replacement refs. Of course, refereeing football is a lot harder than refereeing soccer.
Football.
Yeah, I guess I could say football.
Football.
But it still is a challenge, it's a different level. And so a lot of fans are wanting this deal to get done just for the sake of the game. And so to have these kind of questions about why it hasn't gotten done, why it's still a topic of conversation, and how far apart are the two sides to get a deal done, we were able to talk to the Professional Soccer Referee Association president, Peter Manikowski. And so here's our interview with him to give us more insight about what the heck is going on behind closed doors when it comes to this MLS referee lockout. Okay, everybody. So now we're joined by the Professional Soccer Referee Association President, Peter Manikowski. First off, Peter, how's your day going today?
Been a busy day.
Yeah, a lot of things going on, I'm sure, on your end. And so, of course, we wanted to bring you on because the conversation around MLS is about the referee lockout. And, you know, a lot of people are wondering how the negotiations are going, what's happening behind the scenes. And so just to give a broad view of what's been happening over the last couple of months, can you just give our viewers the situation that's led to this point?
Yeah, I'd be happy to. We had a collective bargaining agreement with the employer Pro. Pro is a joint venture between MLS and U.S. Soccer. And that collective bargaining agreement was scheduled to expire in mid-January. It was extended by the parties a couple of times through February the 12th, and then it finally expired. We had a tentative agreement with the employer. That was taken out for a ratification vote, and that ratification vote failed. 95.8% rejected of our membership affected here, and that's 100 referees who are working mainly in Major League Soccer. After that, on the 18th of February, they locked us out. Just as they did in 2014, they locked us out here again in 2024. And that's the situation that we're in right now, which is they've locked us out now for 25 days almost.
Do you see any similarities from the last lockout to this one?
I'll tell you that the personnel in Major League Soccer's executive offices is largely unchanged. They have a pro board who's made up of very similar people to 2014. In 2019, some of those folks weren't there, but they're back again here in 2024, and that's concerning to us because at this stage of the negotiations, this isn't at the moment about money or work rules or the other things, benefits that are in a collective bargaining agreement. This seems to be about making a point. And that's disappointing to us because when negotiations go that way, they become very, very difficult and bitter almost.
And I was going to ask, of course, you don't have to go into detail, but what are some of the things that maybe the refs are asking for that I guess have been causing, this standstill for you guys?
Sure. So we have, wages are top of the list over here. We have flexibility in travel. Every given weekend, about 80 of our officials go on the road. It might even be more than that sometimes, but about 80 of them go on the road, crossing all the way from Quebec City to Los Angeles to Vancouver to Miami, and everywhere in between. And travel flexibility is a big point with us. We have 45 assistant referees in the staff, and about 30 of them don't have health insurance. Provided by the company, or they can't get it from someplace else. And this needs to be fixed up in a way that's suitable so that people can have preventive health care so that they can run as fast as 20-year-olds on the field of play. Those are two of the items. And then wages, on wages, this league has, to its tremendous benefit and to its credit, had big increases in revenues. Apple TV deal. Adidas is seeing more money come in through the sponsorship parts, and ticket sales increasing, and the excitement in the stadiums is really there to a level that it never has been before. And we're asking for our wages to keep up with that. What was negotiated in 2019 is no longer relevant here in 2024 with MLS.
So if I heard you correctly, the money that the MLS has now accumulated through the new Apple TV deal, which is a big deal, by the way, especially with Messi coming over, y'all haven't seen any of that in y'all's new wages, or if y'all even received new wages? That's been a topic of conversation of getting a piece of that.
Well, it's not directly from the Apple TV deal, but the league's general revenues, right? We think that a larger portion of that should be passed through to us as wages.
Gotcha.
And the first tentative agreement had some wage increases, and the league likes to tout that was 25% on average. But when you multiply a small number times 25%, you still have a small number. and the members' expectations are higher than that. I'll give you one example where the first tentative agreement, for example, had a 4.5-5% increase for one of the officials, and that was the pay increase that official was expected to see. Given the changes in revenues, how do you expect someone would vote on an agreement like that? Right? Obviously, they voted no on that, and it's very challenging. So, I think the bargaining tactics from MLS and Pro were to give big percentages to the lowest paid wage earners. Inflating the percentages.
To make it seem like it's a big increase, but like you said, we're starting with a low number, multiplying it, it's still going to be a low number at the end of the day. And so I totally understand your point there. And also, when it comes to benefits, I just don't understand what would their argument be. If you can get some insight, if you have any, about why would they say no to giving everyone benefits when that's something I feel like every company should want to do?
It's their line is that it's too expensive. It's something they don't want to pay for. And they have this idea that the assistant referees can go get health benefits from someplace else, and if that's not working, right? We tried that over the last 10 years, 5 years in particular, and it's just not working for the wages that these people are making. And a different solution is absolutely needed. I will say that the officials who are living in Canada, right, they have health insurance provided by the various Canadian provinces. But for the U.S. workers, as I mentioned, there's 30 of them. We need a different solution here.
And you also mentioned travel flexibility. Can you kind of dive more in depth about what you mean by y'all are trying to get more travel flexibility?
Sure. So, what you see for professional sports officials in the United States and Canada is that in the NBA, the Major League Baseball, in the NFL, this is as a general rule, these officials are flying as close to the front of the airplane as possible, whether it be economy comfort class we're not asking for that, right? What we're asking for is to be able to select the flight and select the seat in the most beneficial way possible to the officials, so that it fits under a flight cap to control costs, and the official can sit as close to the front as possible. And then there are other work rules that we have. And at the moment, the work rules would allow the company to force an official onto a flight at 6 a.m, for example. So if you do a game in Q2 Stadium, it ends at what? 10 o'clock?
About 10:30.
And then you leave the stadium. Yeah, you leave the stadium, an hour after that.
Yeah.
You try to find some light food to eat, and then your recovery for the next match begins. And if that recovery includes a 6 a.m. flight that you don't want, it's a little bit more difficult to recover for the next game, the next week.
Yeah, you're talking about like 4 hours of sleep at that point to make the flight.
And look, when I was refereeing, I wanted to do that because I got home to see my family earlier, and I built my recovery around those things. But if you don't want that flight and you were on it, it's a tricky situation.
Yeah, I can just imagine the few 6 a.m. flights I've had. I mean, they've all been terrible. So, I mean, the one time I had a 6 a.m. flight with Spirit, and that experience was egregious. But how often are y'all, I guess, meeting when it comes to this collective bargaining? How often are y'all meeting with the MLS and trying to come to a deal? Is it like once a week, every month, or how does that work on that end?
Well, let me start off by saying that the negotiators who are present right now are pros negotiators, right? We haven't seen an MLS negotiator at the table in 10 years, right? Wow. And that's a little bit complicated because, for example, most of the money that's coming through over here is MLS's money. And that's why you see a guy like Nelson Rodriguez, who's talking in the media every day, but not at the bargaining table. And that we view that as somewhat counterproductive. We met on regular intervals starting in October. There were some larger breaks, but as a general matter, we kind of met on schedule through February, and it went okay. There were some hiccups, We met by Zoom. What would that be? March the 1st. And then we met in Manhattan the following Monday and Tuesday and haven't met since.
Mm-hmm.
And we're using mediators from the Federal Mediation and Conciliation Service, and those mediators are very good at their job. But at the moment, the parties are talking past one another.
Yes.
And I just want to go into that for a moment, which is the company had offered what's called a dual track proposal, which was the first track being revote the tentative agreement that was already rejected and do that by Monday night. Well, that's come and gone. We didn't vote on it again.
Mm-hmm.
The other option or other track being that they're going to roll back their position to what it was in early January. And that's where they're going to start negotiating from again. And we presume that's what they're going to do. And that type of bargaining tactic that's old news. It's kind of expected.
Yeah.
Because once again, they want to make a point. This isn't about money. It's about making a point and extracting pain from the members. And that's no good.
And if you're going back to where you already said no to, then what would be the point of going back in the first place when it comes to negotiation, except for trying to flex your muscles? That's what it kind of seems like. So yeah. I totally understand your point there. And, what I don't understand right now, I guess, for the latest update to this whole situation is something we talked about before we started the podcast was, these bring back the real ref signs, that's been passed around. I got this on opening night at Q2 Stadium from some fans, and they're willing to support. So just first off, when y'all saw all this support from the fan bases around the country, because it wasn't just at Q2 Stadium, what was that like just from y'all's perspective to see so much support?
Well, first of all, it's heartwarming in a difficult situation, right? Labor disputes they can be bitter. This one is bitter. And when we've had supporters groups from Austin to Portland, Columbus, Minnesota, and several other clubs really giving a strong backing to the referees is heartwarming. And we really appreciate it. Fans have been inventing songs to sing during the matches. Fans have, had their signs. Austin being a union town, those signs were really cool and very supportive. So, it's a true recognition of the fans to the roles that the fans play in the game, the role the referees play in the game, the role the players and the teams, coaches, everyone plays in the game. And without each of these aspects, the matches suffer. The matches are not as entertaining, and the players can't do what they do.
And on that note, next thing I figure out is that now these things are banned at these arenas and stadiums, and so you can't pass out any of this stuff anymore. And so when you heard that news, first off, have y'all got that confirmed from the league offices? Is that a real league policy now that you can't bring that type of stuff into the stadiums?
We haven't, like I said, we haven't talked to them since.
Oh yeah,
they're not buddy.
We don't know that, but some of the supporters who have reached out to us from the Austin supporters groups had mentioned that had occurred, and several of them had done so. And, that's really disappointing because part of the idea here is in a labor dispute, some people side with management, some people side with the union. And if you side with who you want to side with, but the ability to express yourself and to, use signs and speaking about it is really part of what organized labor is about, and part of what, at a most basic level, what we do in this country, right, is instead of using violence, we use signs, we use songs, we talk about it.
Yeah.
Just like we're doing today. And to have any of that stuff banned is unusual, right, in the United States. That's not what we do here.
Yeah, and Peter, and I just want to say thank you for taking the time out. My final question, I know Court may have a couple more, but my final question is, out of the 100 refs, are they all full-time refs? I know in the last year, we've seen a lot of labor intensive battles, when it comes to actors, when it comes to even the car industry. Mm-hmm. Are these refs full-time refs, and what are some of the things that they're doing to, I guess, supplement their income right now when it comes to refing?
Well, about 30 of them, the center referees that you see the most of on TV and what have you, those folks probably make enough wages to make that their full-time situation, depending on where you live, I suppose. The next group of officials down, the assistant referees, are a handful who can earn enough wages to do that. And then the video refs, there's no way, right? And what you might see this most analogous to is, I don't know if you remember the UPS dispute from last summer, where they had the full-time drivers and the part-time drivers. And that was something that they needed to fix in that contract. And oh boy, did they fix it, right? It was really well done by the Teamsters. And we have the same ideas over here, right? Not to the extent that they did it, right? But there has to be some equalization and making this so that people can dedicate more time to refereeing. And the quality of play will improve, quality of decisions, management of the game. All those things will improve.
Do you have any fear that this won't get done by the end of the season?
Oh, sure I do. Labor disputes, lockouts, strikes, the whole thing are serious situations, difficult situations. And once again, when it's not about money anymore and it's about putting the union in its place, that's a real wild card. Who knows how that thing is going to end up? And we'll bargain in good faith to make a second agreement. We're not entirely sure what MLS and Pro are going to do. And yeah, it keeps me up at night. And we'll. I like to say that there will be agreement, but the question is for how much and when. Yeah, and that's what we're struggling with right now. But I want to just close by saying that the solidarity of our members is something that I've never encountered before. In 2024, the 100 officials and the other officials in our union are solid together in such a way that you have people picketing in Manhattan. We have people picketing in Dallas. And if you would have asked me, ever before, would you see soccer referees picketing on Fifth Avenue in New York? I would have told you you're crazy. But such is the situation that these folks need more wages, more benefits, and more better work rules, that they are willing to picket in New York, picket in Dallas, and really make sure that the next agreement is a good one.
Well, hopefully for MLS sake, and for all the fans out there, you're able to get this negotiation figured out. Thank you so much, Peter, the Professional Soccer Referee Association president, for taking the time out to talk to us about the situation and about the negotiations, because a lot of people are in the dark. And so we needed this conversation to kind of figure out, what are y'all asking for? A lot of people are asking, are they asking for more money? Are they trying to get more time off? And so thank you for clearing up a lot of things about what's happening on y'all side of things. And we're just praying and hoping that something will be able to get figured out, because even when it comes to the replacement refs, I know a lot of respect for them right now is getting kind of up and down right now, because it's a tough thing to come into the professional league and start reffing just out of nowhere. And so even they're struggling at times. And so hopefully things will get figured out just for the fan base of Major League Soccer. So thank you.
Thank you, guys. Really appreciate it.
Thank God we got some more information on that situation, because I feel like every soccer fan has been in the dark about what the heck the refs are asking for. I thought the whole time, Dion, the refs were just asking for more money because of the new Apple TV deal, but we're talking about healthcare benefits. We're talking about travel plans. Like, this is real world, like real life, to me, like should be given type stuff.
Yeah.
That the league isn't willing to budge on. So what did you take away from that conversation?
It's scary that it's not all about money. That if it was about money, then maybe they'd be a little bit more closer to getting something done. But this is, like he said in the interview, the league or the clubs, they're just trying to prove a point that we're not gonna come to our knees to y'all, basically. And that's scary because, like I say, who knows when this deal could be done? I mean, you asked the question about it being the whole season.
Yeah,
that's might be a possibility.
On the table that it could be out the whole season.
That might be the possibility that this is something that might not. It doesn't look like it's being close to being done. At this very moment. So it's a scary sight for them. Like I say, we support them. We hope that they can come to some type of agreement, some type of deal, get what they're asking for, because it doesn't sound like they're asking for nothing. It's not like they're asking like
they're asking for like normal things. Like, hey, can you?
Yeah, it's not like they're asking like, we want private jets. We want everybody to get a Lambo, a Rolex. We feel like that's needed. I feel like they're asking for stuff that us normal 9-to-5 humans should be getting with your job. So
I think one more aspect that a lot of people aren't understanding is that the official refs, when they are on the pitch and when they do have a schedule, they don't ref 3 weeks in a row, because it's a taxing job, especially when summer comes around and you're out there refereeing in the heat of, let's say, Texas, here in Austin. And that is a brutalizing day on your body. And so that's why they don't ref 3 weeks in a row, just for safety concerns. And so now with these replacement refs, who, by the way, aren't used to this schedule, this is something that they're not familiar with. And you throw in the fact that like the weather's going to play a factor. And of course you throw in the fact that they're going to have to ref 3 weeks in a row. I mean, it's not possible for them to take a week off because there's nobody left. And so you're talking about a season where week after week you're in the extreme temperatures, traveling at a rate that you just heard the interview. I mean, dudes are having 6 a.m. flights. And so you have a full day reffing, having to get up, get on this flight at 6 a.m. early in the morning. That means you got to get to the airport at like 4 a.m.
Sit in the back of the plane.
That's going to mess up a lot of replacement refs throughout the season. So I'm interested to see how the level of refereeing maybe deteriorates throughout the season because of just fatigue. Because these guys aren't used to this schedule that are refereeing right now. And it's only going to get worse as the summer starts to pick up, and so does the temperatures. So a lot of things that can go down the hill fast in the league when it comes to this official situation, and it'll be in the best interest on both sides to get this deal done as soon as possible.
Thanks. I agree with that. I think once the quality starts to go down, and Apple is like, yo, I need to figure this out, or this deal that we just did. You trying to take this off the table. You know what I mean? Like, I need to go figure it out, go get them guys. Hey, they was cool for this first couple of weeks when these games weren't important, but these games start getting important. I need to figure this out, or this deal. We didn't sign this deal for the replacements. So, I think that'll be unfortunately, that might be the time where, things flip around and they come back to the table, because he was talking about they haven't talked in 2 weeks.
No, that's crazy. And MLS isn't even like at the table with them. It's a negotiator, a mediator at the table. And so you would at least want the respect from your counterpart to be at the table.
To say to your face, like, we're not trying to.
Yeah. Like, you don't want somebody sending the information through a middleman. Like, no, you come tell it to my face. So I agree with Peter on that part. Like, don't disrespect me like that. You're already disrespecting me with your offer. Don't disrespect me with your absence as well. And so, Lord have mercy. Got me fired up.
It's a lot. It's a lot. Like I say, Mose Knows. We hope y'all come to a deal. We want to see the best of the best out there, whether that be the refs, the commentators, even the players. We hope y'all get a deal done. Final thoughts. One of my final thoughts. I'm loving the discourse over the internet of people hating on the 80s. Michael Jordan,
man, that's been
not having a left hand.
You should have asked Clarence about that, because he did dang, bro. Because he's a big Michael Jordan guy. Oh my goodness.
Oh,
dang, bro. You should ask Clarence about that. Now that I think about it, he literally just had a tweet about his daughter apparently saw a TikTok, and she messaged him saying, "Hey, I didn't know Jordan couldn't go left." Now, mind you, his daughter doesn't follow basketball. Like, she's not like a basketball nerd. Like, she just scrolled on TikTok, saw the video, and the video shows that Jordan wasn't good going left. And so she texted her dad and said, "Dad, why didn't Jordan have a left hand?" Pissed, absolutely pissed. So much so he sent a tweet out about it.
It's the funniest thing in the world, because we're seeing all these old heads come out and defend them. y'all are really mad. Like, no, because what happened was, no, y'all didn't even see Jordan when y'all need the context of the game. I'm like, yo, bro,
Look at the highlights.
like these clips look bad. Like, maybe he developed it later on, but these clips, he dribbling out of bounds, he's shooting it off the backboard, can't shoot a three.
This is their fault. This is their fault, y'all. All the old heads out here that be supporting Jordan, y'all be saying,
put it on a pedestal.
Man, he was unstoppable. He couldn't be contained at all. He can go right, he can go left, he can shoot over you, he can dunk over you. Okay, say less. Let's go look it up.
Let's go look at the film.
Look at the tape.
It has been hilarious to watch the old heads getting their feelings. I'm seeing old people that don't even be on social media. They making videos. I know how old. Yeah, they make hilarious. And I think my last final thought is LeBron and his work wife. Funniest tweets on
here you go.
Him and Jeannie Buss. Oh,
hey,
my
he's smooth
gosh.
with it though. You saw the video. He didn't touch him. He didn't touch him. He was just using his
legs crossed. Hey, first things first. Happy International Women's Day. I thought, oh my God, LeBron.
He knows what he's doing. You know what he's doing.
You know when you get to the crib. You got all the jokes, huh? You know, Savannah. Oh, you a funny man, I see.
Oh.
What you talking about? I seen this video you, Brian. Y'all had a good time at the game, huh?
He got home. You know.
Oh yeah.
Was. Hey, you know she was. Like, oh, so you a comedian now? Oh, okay. We'll see how funny he is when you sleep on the couch tonight. I already know. That's how it went down, bro. I already know. But look at bro.
Babe, I'm trying to get the 60 mil. Like, what you want me to do?
Like the lifetime contract, man.
I'm trying to man. I was actually talking about trying to own the team. Like, that funniest thing in the world.
Great video.
Funniest thing in the world. What about you, bro? Any final thoughts?
Honestly, I haven't got much. I will say, like, Texas basketball. I mean, if you're not watching this women's basketball team, you need to. I mean, there's so much talent on this squad, and they're on a historic run right now. And so definitely follow and support the ladies because they definitely deserve it. And it's not just Texas women's basketball. I mean, I saw LSU and South Carolina go at it this weekend. I know you.
Yeah.
Flage. Brother came.
Oh, that's another thing. What? Hey, brother, what was you thinking you was gonna do?
I don't know.
Like, I don't know.
Like, what you want to accomplish?
It's not like
she's 6'8".
It's not like she choked her. Like, what was the point of you jumping on the court?
No point at all. And you have her size anyways. So what you gonna do?
Yeah, you looked crazy, bro.
But
that was so unnecessary.
But that game was crazy game. I was locked in the whole time. Same thing with gotta give props to Caitlin Clark as well. She had to come back, drop 30 points in the second half to bring her team back in overtime against Nebraska to win the Big Ten title. And so women's basketball right now, it is a beautiful thing to watch.
It's more popular than the men's. Easily. Yes. And college for sure.
Yeah, it's definitely like entertaining. Like it legit is entertaining to watch, and you got beef. And that's what I like about it. I don't know if you heard the post-game press conference for Andrew Reese. She's like, we're going to see them again. Yeah. Like, we're not scared of South Carolina. It's like, y'all may be scared of South Carolina, but we ain't scared of South Carolina. I love her talking her stuff like that because then that tells me they got a little rivalry, a legit rivalry, and that's what you want to see as a sports fan. And right now, women's basketball hasn't, and I don't see that type of intensity in men's basketball when it comes to just hatred for another team. And so, I just love it. I love it right now. We're in a great time for college women's basketball. So please watch it because I promise you won't not like it. I just feel like there's so much stuff going on in that world that a lot of people are overlooking. And if you just take a step back and analyze what's going on in that sport right now, it's a beautiful thing to see. And so that's all I got for my final take. Thank you so much for watching and listening to another Mose Knows episode. As always, Dion, let's get out of here with the YERRRR.